And as we continue here on the program, as we are broadcasting live at the National Association of Farm Broadcasting Convention in Kansas City, Missouri, let's talk now with the Plant-Based Products Council. James Glick, their executive director, joins us for a conversation. And James, it's good to talk with you. Good to see you in person. We were joking a bit. We've always done this virtually, so it's nice to finally connect in person here in Kansas City.
I agree, Jesse, and nice to be, as you said, here in Kansas City and not sitting in Washington or someplace else in the country. So.
Well, and I know, speaking of being other places, you just returned from COP here just the previous few days. So get us up to speed. What were some of the big things you heard as you spent time at COP?
Yeah, you bet. And was just down in Brazil. They had COP this year uniquely in not a kind of a global capital, but in the Amazon, actually. So I think unique from where we sit in the ag sector is that the focus was really on the bioeconomy in a new way. You look back a couple of years and folks were talking about kind of energy and a whole host of kind of issues in the COP space, but the bioeconomy question really hadn't gotten the attention until really the last year or two. And so we're excited to be in Brazil. I think the other thing I'd note is there was a lot of activity around farmers and what's being done, not just downstream with the consumer face, but upstream with folks who work day in and day out providing food on the plates. And in our case, products and chemicals and a whole host of materials made from plant-based ingredients.
Thinking about such a big event like that, what seems to be one of the biggest priorities looking ahead to 2026? Like, was there another common theme you kind of heard, even if it was the hallway conversations, James?
You bet. I mean, we're 30 years into that conversation, and the focus has really shifted, I'd say, with this COP with implementation. So it's not just focused on, kind of the science conversations or sort of, academics and kind of governments talking about, but what matters on the ground? How does one really take what's been discussed for many years and kind of implement it back home and where they come from? And so that was really a theme, I think, that reigned throughout, conversations we had in sort of the main kind of COP forum, but also they had an agri-zone dedicated just to those of us who are involved in the agriculture space, kind of indicative of that focus on bioeconomy.
Well, appreciate some insights into COP 30, and of course, a lot of other conversations surrounding your segment of the industry here, and something we've talked about before is the BioPreferred program. And let's get an update on that. We saw fiscal year 26 agri-probes go through, things like that. So talk about what things like that mean for this BioPreferred program.
No, I appreciate that question, Jesse. As you know, I think when we talked last, there was a lot of uncertainty as we were going into September, and so glad to see the government has reopened. As part of that, a number of Farm Bill programs were extended. The BioPreferred program is one of those that had authority extended through September of next year. So we have a little more certainty on the authority side. What we really need, though, is certainty on the funding side. Like many of those programs that are orphaned in a Farm Bill or are not part of that kind of guaranteed reauthorization, you're sort of left in limbo in cases like this. And so I think really looking at Congress and the administration to put some funding in the program as we move through end of the year and thinking about the next 12 months.
Because as we've talked before, there's a lot of opportunity with this BioPreferred program as long as all the pieces of the puzzle kind of come together, James.
There are. I mean, program has been around 20 plus years at this point and strong bipartisan support from folks all over the country. And it really is that stamp of government approval on these products that are, have a direct benefit back to farmers, ag commodity tied to whether it's a chemical or a plastic or a package, diapers, you name it, is real. And so that BioPreferred stamp of approval and guarantee to the marketplace and the consumer is really key.
What other priorities are out there for plant-based product councils? We look into 2026, obviously, holiday season, we're getting ready for the end of the year. So what lies ahead for you and your organization moving into next year?
I'd say new Farm Bill, of course, is on the to-do list. We've talked a little bit about BioPreferred. There are other focus we have within there. You think big picture, I think infrastructure is something that is definitely needed in this country. Innovation infrastructure. We've got a lot of bright ideas in our university systems and companies here in the U.S., but don't have the pilot and demonstration scale facilities to really take those bright ideas, get them a little bit more, larger production, scale up, attract investment, and really kind of develop a marketplace for farmers here in the U.S. So I think that investment in kind of the infrastructure is a priority of ours. We've got a bill, a couple of strong bipartisan support in the House and Senate that would use existing USDA authority in the guaranteed loan program, one of the guaranteed loan programs, to provide grants for that infrastructure need. also looking at some tax ideas, tax incentives to help, folks that are looking to put bricks and mortar in the ground and build manufacturing facilities here in the U.S. to really drive that demand instead of, shipping things around the globe and those jobs, being exported as well as the product.
Well, and to your point about the university side and all the ideas that are there and more, it's kind of like taking things from an idea and conceptualized idea to reality, and that's some of what maybe we're missing in the plant-based side of the industry with some of that research. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I think that's really fair. The research side is an exciting part. Folks who are, really need ideas about how can you turn corn and soy in this country into something that might be made from a fossil-based feedstock in the chemical space today, and how do they do it efficiently and effectively? And so I think it's taking it from the laboratory where a lot of that conversation is happening, and making sure that it's practical and works at scale as well.
I know we've talked before. You guys have a lot of great info, research, and so much more online, pbpc.com. That's a good spot for folks to start to learn more about what you guys are doing as an organization, isn't it?
No, I appreciate the plug for the website. It is a great place to learn about kind of our range of members, everyone from growers all the way through manufacturers and folks that have products in consumers' hands. But I think what really excited about on the website is also some consumer data. I mean, this is a marketplace that is driven by demand and by consumers. And we've got 70% plus are favorable and familiar with these products, and that hasn't changed over the last several years.
James, any other final thoughts you'd share with us as we close out today?
Jesse, I'd just say, I think when this all comes down to kind of what it means to growers, is a lot of growth opportunity here in the U.S. We're looking at building out domestic manufacturing, but doing it, in a way that also drives demand for corn, soybeans, and other products here that impact our farm communities.
Again, pbpc.com for more. James Glick, Executive Director, Plant-Based Products Council. Good to talk with you, James. Thanks for joining us here at NAFB.
Appreciate it, Jesse. Thank you.